Hello there, it's Reverend Nhien, founder of Evolving Enneagram. If you've been seeking a compassion-based, contemplative approach to Enneagram inner work, you are certainly in the right place. We are in the midst of a 52-week Sunday Talk series based on the book by Oren Sofer, Your Heart Was Made for This. This is week 38, and we are on the topic of gratitude. Gratitude is a spiritual practice that is universal to the major religious and spiritual traditions of the world, but also even in the secular world, it's in self-help psychology considered a practice that is beneficial to our happiness, health, and well-being. So fairly universally, this is considered a good thing to practice. Today's talk is titled Grateful for Gratitude, 9 attitudes toward gratitude, of course, in line with the 9 types. So today I want to share a few reflections first on the spiritual, you might call it interspiritual practice of gratitude. And then I'll overlay that with the 3 conflict styles of the Enneagram. If you're new to the conflict styles, I'll share a little bit about each conflict style and which of the Enneagram types goes into that category. So, ready? Let's begin. So Meister Eckhart, who devoted his life to the realm of spirit, God, spirituality, once said, if the only prayer you ever said your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. Oh, you might say, Nhien, if I had my health, or my partner's health, or my family's health, or more money, or greater success, if I could achieve my goals, if I had better looks, a more cooperative spouse or child, a better me, then I might be grateful. I might have reason to be grateful then, or you might go deeper and you might say, if I never had to lose anything I love or anyone I love, if times hadn't changed or if time hadn't passed me by, then maybe I would be grateful. We have this very human lament about the suffering of life, right? And so we can name, all of us, no matter what our type, chances are we can name the many reasons not to be grateful, the many conditions on which we might place our gratitude, right? So here I want to invite that what this practice means to me, this practice of gratitude, is a spiritual practice. It is, of course, a faith practice. And at least from a unity perspective, which is the perspective from which I come, we deal in the realm of consciousness when we're talking about spirituality. We deal in the realm of consciousness, not of conditions or of circumstances. And so that's what I want to invite you to explore today. And certainly conditions can inspire greater gratitude, right? But just like a lovely or beautiful or positive conditions can inspire our faith at a certain moment in our lives, it can be easier. Uh, if the wisdom teachers of the ages are to be believed, we need to be able to transcend circumstance as the basis of our gratitude, right? The power of circumstance to alter our peace, our faith, and ultimately our gratitude. And we know, we have seen this happen in what we consider exceptional people, inspiring people, people who have survived the Holocaust, right? People, I've seen it in my volunteer work in prison where I see men, boys really, who have been in positions where they didn't have a chance, right? Like what has happened to them since they were young, right? But yet they're still willing to think positively and believe in themselves and in the possibilities for their future. They're willing to practice having a positive thought about what's happening to them today, even while they're in prison. So these people are very inspiring to me. The Dalai Lama said, when you are discontent, you always want more, more, more. Your desire can never be satisfied. But when you practice contentment, you can say to yourself, oh, yes, I already have everything that I really need. And so there's a different attitude or perspective. And from a unity perspective, we say what we appreciate appreciates. And so the stance of having cultivates a consciousness of having, which then multiplies the sense of having, of enough, of satisfaction, of contentment in this moment. And I want to say that contentment doesn't mean that we don't take action in the next moment. Contentment isn't like apathy, right? There's something about being okay in the present moment, but still taking action toward improvement in the next moment. So I want to make that distinction here. Wayne Dyer taught abundance is not something we acquire, it's something we tune into. And so again, I want to invite this notion that gratitude is a kind of leap of faith sometimes, but a movement of alignment and attunement with a consciousness of sufficiency that says that in faith, I believe that everything that is needed for my highest good is already here right now. And I welcome this moment as it is. Right. And allowing even moments that are challenging. And it's something that can evolve, where I think early on in my spiritual practice, there were times where I was like, no, I can be grateful for these things that are obviously, to my ego's point of view, things I like, but I struggle to be grateful for things I didn't like. And I think that what helped me in that was understanding that I don't have to be grateful for the things like, recently I had a health issue come up for me. And I'm like, okay, gratitude practice isn't saying I have to be grateful for this circumstance coming into my life. It's more that I can be grateful in the midst of this circumstance being in my life. As you see how my gratitude is independent of, it's not based one way or another on that circumstance. So that's the practice. And then finally, the title of today's talk is based on something I heard in a prayer chaplain circle when I served as a volunteer prayer chaplain with Unity in Marin back in 2000, I don't know, 6. And I remember we were going around the room and practicing gratitude. And one of my fellow chaplains was like, I'm grateful for gratitude. And we all laughed, of course. There was something kind of funny, something silly, but something also very deeply true about this. Because again, universally, most of us were like, yes, gratitude is a good practice. I'm grateful for gratitude. And at the same time, there's something in the way we're not grateful for gratitude. We take it for granted. And in this moment, I felt like, hey, gratitude is almost like that friend you take for granted. This friend can be helpful, but if I want to sit on my pity pot for a while, like I'm not going to welcome that friend in, right? So this idea of like, I'm grateful that I know that that's there, right there, that I could be happy. Like I could have this good, and so, but my gratitude then can come into a moment where I'm like, okay, there's a welcoming of even the gratitude practice, a welcoming of this friend, this ally. Gratitude practice is my ally on the spiritual path, right? So that's how I want to bring that in. And now bringing it in and going, okay, how does this apply to my Enneagram type? Again, we never want the Enneagram. The Enneagram is just a map. The map is not the territory. We never want the Enneagram teaching to eclipse what's actually happening for you. So check it out. See if this makes sense to you. But over the years, what I have noticed is, having taught gratitude practice for many years, that there are 3 categories of people within the Enneagram that respond differently when I bring it into groups. And so they can be classified according to the conflict styles of the Enneagram. One of the conflict styles is the emotional realness types. If you don't already know, it's the 4, the 6, and the 8. And these are types that are known if something goes awry, the immediate reaction is this emotional reaction. For the 8, it's usually anger. For the 6, it's usually fear. For the 4, it's sadness or shame. And so, but this thing here feels like it is the only real thing, this emotional reaction. So emotional realness types in the face of gratitude practice can often have this reaction of um, defying the practice, feeling like it's inauthentic. So it's not just fours that do this. All the emotional realness types I've seen feel like they reject it if it doesn't feel like it's authentic to this feeling that's going on. And I think what's helpful to remember for those of us who do believe in a greater sort of spiritual fabric, that it's very small. Your identity is very small when you identify only with what you feel about a certain situation. And spiritual perspective broadens the eye, right? So that, yes, that human experience can be held in this greater consciousness, but the greater consciousness is capable of that energy of enoughness. And see if you can allow that part to still include the feeling, but allow gratitude practice to be like a perspective enlarging practice. So when we take like a broader faith perspective, there's room for the human reaction, but there's more room for gratitude. So, I was reminded on this point of a quote from Carl Jung. He taught, if our religion is based on salvation, our chief emotions will be fear and trembling. If our religion is based on wonder, our chief emotion will be gratitude. And so if you want to revisit the last 2 weeks, we've been exploring wonder. Wonder is the opening of perspective, right? So your selfhood almost like enlarges in your perspective. So that can be related to how emotional realness types can open to more gratitude. Now, positive outlook types are the ones that tend to be like looking on the sunny side of things, right? And so the orientation of these types 2, 7, and 9 can be like, yay, gratitude practice. We love this, and there could be an immediate like, yes, I'm always like grateful. But what I find is the positive outlook types really carve out what they're grateful for, and they stay on that side of the fence. So there's a lot of polarizing of things they're never going to be grateful for and things they're always grateful for. So just kind of take a look at that, see if that applies to you if you're 2, 7, or 9, to where it's not about gratitude organically sourced from spirit or from within, but more of like, I can latch onto the things that my ego says are positive in my life, and then I can just think about that and not look at the other stuff, right? And in 3 different ways for the 2, the 7, or the 9. The 2 doesn't like to think of itself as a bad person, and so any of the feelings around things that they don't want to feel that can kind of be identified with someone who's not pleasant or likable. 2s can reject that in themselves. For 7s, of course, it's the if anything doesn't resonate with the fun, happy, ness, and triggers like their fear of going into like dark emotions, then they're going to stay on this side of things, And then for the 9, it's almost like it's a forgetting. It's a blindness to what can be hard or conflictual, a real not wanting to, almost falling asleep to it, right? And so that, again, just be aware of how you might polarize positive versus negative, right? For the positive outlook types, rather than deepening your gratitude for the totality of this moment of your existence. And then finally, the rational competency types in conflict styles. When something goes awry, these are the types that like suck it up, set the feelings aside and solve the problem. 1s, 3s, 5s. So I fall into this category historically, much more so in terms of like rejecting feelings, but that's a whole nother story. So what happens when this type, I find that this type is more likely to look at gratitude practice as having gratitude for the things that worked out. So if you think about it, the problem was solved, for this style. And when things work, period, right? And frustration and lack of gratitude when things don't work. And so in that, there's often a neglect of presence and present moment acceptance. And so in three different ways. Uh, the moment, whether there's a question to be answered for the five, or a resolution or outcome to be attained for the three, or something to be fixed for the one, like until that happens, there can be a struggle around a feeling like they are really open and receptive to gratitude. So just be aware of that and notice how it's not when that finally comes, because it's never going to come, because there's always going to be another problem to solve, right? And so recognizing this. So hope that was helpful. I'd love to hear your comments and insights as you reflect on this in accordance with your conflict style on the Enneagram. Next week, I'm excited to talk about generosity being linked to gratitude. And that's actually going to lead us into the week after that, which is on generosity, period. All right. Many blessings.